You have something you would never give up, something you protect, something you hide behind. God knows what it is. So did the rich young ruler, and he walked away sorrowful. The rich young ruler. He stands at the edge of eternity, one foot on the cliff, the other on the illusion of control. A soul poised above a fall no wealth can cushion. You know this man, not by name, but by pulse, by the quiet ache behind your ribs when the night is long and the heart tallies its gains. What if everything you've built, your obedience, your discipline, your clean record, is not a bridge to life, but a barrier? He arrives like a storm in silk, young, the kind of youth that doesn't just have time, but owns it. His limbs move with the unearned confidence of someone who has never been refused. The sun hits the gold thread in his robe. He glints off rings that speak of lineage, of sealed contracts, of gates that open before he knocks. He could command armies with a nod. Instead, he runs. Sandals slap stone. Dust rises in small clouds around his ankles. A prince sprinting like a beggar. Protocol shattered. Dignity abandoned. The crowd parts, stunned. No one runs toward a rabbi. Not like this, he drops. Knees strike rock. The impact echoes, not in sound, but in the sudden stillness that follows. The air tightens. His breath comes fast, shallow. The scent of sweat and myrrh cuts through the dry wind. His hands, soft from luxury, press into the grit. A ruler, on the ground, before a carpenter from Galilee. His voice cracks the silence, not loud, not theatrical, but raw, urgent. Teacher, what good thing must I do to possess eternal life? The words hang, heavy. Or the question every temple, every prayer, every midnight confession has whispered in one form or another. He believes in merit, in balance, in scales that tip with enough righteousness. He thinks the kingdom is a contract. Sign here, perform these deeds, receive the inheritance. Jesus looks at him, not with scorn, not with mockery, but with a stillness that cuts deeper. Why do you call me good? The voice is low, measured, each word placed like a stone on a scale. No one is good except one, God. The ground shifts, not beneath the feet, beneath the soul. The premise collapses. The man wants to earn what can only be received. He seeks to purchase what must be given. He stands on the edge of a truth that will either break him or set him free. I have kept all the commandments since I was a boy, he says. The claim comes fast. Too fast. As if rehearsed, as if recited before mirrors. His fingers twitch. The rings catch the light. He lists them. Do not murder. Do not steal. Do not lie. The external, the measurable, the ones that leave the heart untouched. He stands on his record, a moral ledger balanced to the last shekel. He believes he has climbed the mountain, but he's only circled the base. And now, silence. The wind dies, the dust settles. The only sound, the slow, steady breath of the teacher. The man waits, confident, expecting affirmation, a nod, a blessing, a certificate of righteousness. But the air thickens. The sun, once warm, now presses down like a hand. His tunic clings to his back. The stones beneath his knees grind into bone. He does not see it yet. But the trap is sprung, not by force, by love, by a question that will unravel everything. What if the very thing that proves your worth, your discipline, your success, your virtue, is the one thing you cannot surrender? What if the door to life is so small that only the empty-handed can enter? Stone, cracked, veined with time. The wind scrapes across it, low and dry, like a hand dragging over parchment. Dust rises in slow spirals, settles on worn steps that once led to altars no one remembers. This is not a place of worship now, only memory. And memory has weight. You were born to this burden, not handed it, grew into it, like roots into rock. Wealth, yours, was not just coin in a chest. It was proof, a divine signature, etched in land deeds, in the weight of your robe, in the deference of neighbors. To be rich was to be chosen. To be blessed was to be seen. The covenant hummed beneath your feet. Obey, and the gates of plenty swing wide. Disobey, then the rains fail. The soil turns to salt. You knew the stories. Your father recited them at dusk, voice low over oil lamps. Righteousness is rewarded, sin punished. A clean ledger meant a full barn. You kept the count. Every offering, every Sabbath, every word of Torah traced in your mind before sleep. You could recite the commandments backward, in the dark, while walking, and you did, often. The rhythm soothed, like counting sheep, but deeper, like counting your soul. You were not like the tax collectors, not like the ones who traded in Roman silver and forgot the sound of Hebrew prayer. You were clean. You were whole. You stood straight in the synagogue, spine aligned with the law. For while others shifted under the weight of guilt, your tithes were exact, your hands untouched by theft, your name unblemished. This was not pride, not to you. It was fact, like the sun rising, like breath. But the law was never meant to save. It was meant to reveal. A mirror held up not to your deeds, but to the hollow behind your eyes. The commandments Jesus spoke. Do not murder, do not steal. They were the outer wall, the fence, easy to see, easy to guard. You stood behind them, arms crossed, certain of your ground, and you said, I have kept them all. The words came without tremor, without pause, as if carved in stone beside you. Yet something trembled, not in your voice, in your chest, a thin crack in the foundation, because beneath the fence, beneath the tithes and the clean hands, there was the first command. The one that reached into the dark. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. All, not part. Not the leftover scraps after business, after inheritance, after security. All. And you. Your heart was divided, not by idols of bronze or ash, but by fields that stretched beyond the horizon, by storehouses that groaned under grain, by the quiet hum of power that came not from prayer, but from possession. You did not bow to Molech. You did not burn your son, but you served a God all the same, one that asked for everything and gave you just enough to believe you were free. Wealth, not as tool, not as stewardship, as master. It spoke in the silence between prayers. What if you lose it? What then? Who would you be? You stand now in the ruins, not of a city, of a self. The pillars of your identity, obedience, success, favor, are cracked, not by force, by question. Soft, simple. Sell what you have. Give to the poor. Come, follow. A door, narrow, low. You would have to stoop, to crawl, to leave the throne behind. The air thickens. Your breath comes shallow. The sun presses on your shoulders like a hand. The rings on your fingers, cool metal, suddenly heavy. You feel the weight of every coin you've ever earned, every contract signed, every gate opened because of your name. To release it, it would be like cutting out your ribs, like stepping off a cliff with no rope. Not just losing wealth, losing who you are. The ground beneath your knees is hard, unforgiving. The same stone where prophets once stood, where kings once fell, where the wind carries the echo of covenants broken and renewed. You came seeking life, but life demands death first. Death of the self you've built, the self that stands tall on the ruins of others' hunger. You do not move. The dust settles. The silence stretches. The only sound, the slow, uneven beat of your heart, thudding against the cage of your chest, like a fist knocking from inside. begging to be heard. You came whole. You leave fractured. Not because the law failed, because it succeeded. It did its work. It showed you the altar and the cost. The stones remain cold, silent, bearing the weight of centuries, and you, still kneeling, bear the weight of one moment, one choice, one breath before the fall. He stands, not tall, not proud, but bent beneath the weight of what he owns. The field stretches, endless, flat, bare. A single tree at its center, twisted, rooted deep in cracked earth. No shelter, no companion, just wind and sky and silence. Like him, Jesus sees him, not the robe, not the rings, not the dust on his sandals from walking long roads to prove himself. He sees the hollow beneath the chest, the quiet war behind the eyes, and he loves him, not because he is flawless, not because he has earned it, but because the love does not wait for worth. It moves first, like breath, like blood, like the pulse beneath skin when the body still fights to live. A look, that is all. No thunder, no flame, no voice from clouds, just a man gazing into another man's soul, and in that gaze, no anger, no disgust, no smirk of superiority, only precision, like a surgeon who knows the blade must go deep to save the limb. This is not condemnation. This is rescue, a scalpel, not a sword. The kind of love that does not flatter, that does not soothe, that cuts, to heal. One thing, that's all. Not 10, not 20, not a list carved in stone, just one. The one thing that blocks the doorway, the one thing that sits on the altar where God should be. Not idol with horns or flame, not statue of gold or ash, but land, coins, storehouses full, the quiet hum of security, the weight of doors that lock from the inside, the peace that comes not from trust, but from control. If you would be whole, Jesus says, not if you would be richer, not if you would be safer. Whole, complete, not in pieces, not split between two masters. One voice, one path, one heart. Go, sell what you have. Give it to those with holes in their hands, those who count hunger by the hour. And you, take up empty palms, walk, and follow me. The words are not heavy. They are light, like a key placed in a hand. But the meaning, oh, the meaning, presses down like stone on the chest. This is not addition, not another commandment to check off. This is subtraction, the stripping away of the false self, the peeling back of the mask, built from deeds and more deeds. The one thing lacking is not a thing at all. It is the space where God fits, and that space is full. You will have treasure in heaven. Not coins, not fields, not ledgers balanced, but light, unfading, unmeasured, a life that does not end, a belonging that does not depend on gates or gold, a trade, dust for dawn, clay for constellations, what fades for what remains. And come, follow me. Not follow the law, not follow the tradition, not follow the path your father walked. Follow me. I'm a man with calloused hands, no palace, no army, no throne, just feet that walk dusty roads, a voice that speaks, and the soul trembles. This is the offer. Not religion, relationship, not ritual, presence, silence. The wind stops. The dust hangs in the air. No bird cries, no leaf stirs. Even the sun seems to pause, caught in the throat of the sky. The man breathes, in, out, but it does not reach the lungs. His face, once confident, polished, falls. Not in anger, in grief. The color drains, the lines deepen. The truth lands like a stone in still water. Ripples, then stillness. He sees it now. The cost, not partial, not negotiable, absolute, all or nothing. He calculates, not with tablets, not with scribes, but in the dark chamber of the heart. The fields, the silver, the respect, the power, the safety, the name that opens doors. He weighs them. Against what? A road with no end, a teacher with no home, a future with no guarantee, a cross he cannot yet see. The scales tip, slowly, surely. The coins sink, the cross rises, but he does not let go. In that moment, a decision, not loud, not dramatic, but final, like a door closing with no key. He turns, not in rage, not in defiance, in sorrow, in surrender, to what he cannot release. He walks, back, toward the city, toward the gates, toward the wealth, but not toward life. He carries his riches, but leaves behind the one thing that could have saved him. His soul. The disciples watch. Their breath catches. Their eyes widen. This man, so good, so righteous, so sure, and yet he walks away. If he cannot enter, who can? Their confidence cracks. Their certainty crumbles. They feel the ground shift beneath them. Not stone, not soil, but the foundation of everything they thought they knew. Jesus speaks, low, firm. It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. The image, absurd, impossible, a beast, huge, humped, stubborn, threaded through a seam so small a thread would struggle. Laughter dies before it forms. This is not hyperbole. This is truth, naked, uncovered. The door is narrow, so narrow that only the emptied can squeeze through. The man is gone, a speck on the horizon, walking into his fortune, walking out of eternity. The tree remains, alone, bent, exposed. The wind returns, cold, dry, scraping across the field. The disciples stand, silent, shaken. The sun dips. Shadows stretch, long, thin, like fingers reaching across the earth. Yet the invitation still hangs in the air, unanswered, unclaimed, but not withdrawn. It remains, for anyone, for everyone, for the one who dares to drop the bag, to loosen the grip, to step forward, empty and whole. He could not let go. The command came, clear, singular, and the earth beneath his feet turned to glass. Not cracked, not trembling, but smooth, reflective, showing him what he carried, not just coin, not just deed, not just title, but identity. The weight of possession pressed into his palms like a brand. He stood at the edge of surrender and stepped back, not in rage, not in denial, but in quiet collapse. The door remained open. He simply refused to enter empty. One did. One who held the stars in the hollow of his hand, rich beyond measure. Not in silver, not in soil, but in glory, in radiance, in the unbroken light of the Father's presence. Yet he stepped down, not with fanfare, not with thunder, but in silence, in shadow, in the hush before dawn. He did not clutch, did not grip, did not barter. He released. He is the true ruler, not crowned by men, not seated on thrones of ivory and cedar, but born in straw, wrapped in cloth, laid in a manger where animals fed. No guards, no decree, no scribes recording his name, just breath, warm, human, real. He did not cling, he descended, though he was fully God, though he bore the very shape of divine majesty. He did not treat equality with the Father as something to be hoarded, something to be defended, something to be worn like armor. No. He loosened his grip. Let the light dim, let the glory fold inward, like a seed falling into soil, or like a flame willingly smothered by ash. And he emptied himself, not of essence, not of being, but of privilege, of power, of the right to be served. He poured out what was his by nature, not reluctantly, not under compulsion, but freely, like water from a jar, like breath from lungs. He took the form of a servant, not a role, not a disguise, but flesh, calloused hands, dust on his ankles, the ache of hunger, the sting of betrayal, the weight of a name that meant nothing in the halls of power. The ruler loved his wealth, loved it like breath, like blood, like the pulse that keeps the body alive. But Jesus loved differently, loved the Father's will more than his own safety, loved us more than his own life. When the cup was offered, bitter, black, foaming with the weight of every sin ever spoken, he did not turn away. He drank. The first commandment stood, unmoved, uncompromised. You shall have no other gods before me. The ruler failed. His heart bowed to the altar of security, of legacy, of control. But Jesus stood, not on a hill, not in a temple, but in Gethsemane, on his knees, face to the dirt, sweat like drops of fire. And he said, "Not my will, yours." He walked the road to Jerusalem, not to accumulate, not to build, but to sell, to give, to surrender, not land, not silver, not storehouses, but himself, his body, his blood, his breath. The cross was his marketplace. There, he traded his life for ours, not for profit, not for gain, but for grace. He bought treasure in heaven, not for himself. He needed none, but for us, for the ones who could not climb, could not reach, could not even lift their hands. He purchased what we could never afford: forgiveness, adoption, belonging, a name written in light, the camel, the needle, the impossible, the disciples' breath caught. How then can anyone be saved? And the answer came, not in logic, not in law, but in blood, in wood, in a sky gone dark at noon. The impossibility shattered at the cross, not by human effort, not by moral strength, but by divine love. What is impossible with man, salvation by merit, by will, by wealth, is possible with God, not because we rise, but because he fell, not because we give enough, but because he gave everything. We are not saved by our abilities to let go. We are saved because he let go for us. Our hands remain clenched. Our hearts still cling. But his hands, nails through, opened wide. In death, he released what was most precious, himself. He bore the cross we refused to carry. Not just the wood, not just the weight, but the shame, the isolation, the cry of abandonment. He took the burden we dropped, the sacrifice we could not make, the death we deserved. Now, the invitation. Come, follow me. Not as a demand, not as a test, not as a ladder to climb, but as a call to rest, to cease, to stop striving, to stop hoarding, to stop measuring, to walk behind the one who already paid the price, to follow the one who walks not toward death, but out of it, toward life, toward light, toward the sunrise that never fades, the sun flare, golden, breaking over the horizon, not for the perfect, not for the wealthy, not for the worthy, but for the broken, the empty, the ones who finally stop holding on. The water, still, a mirror laid flat under heaven's breath. No ripple, no fracture, just the soft blush of dawn. Peach, lavender, yet a hint of gold, spilled across the surface like paint from a gentle hand. You see it now. Not the storm, not the weight, but this, the hush after motion, the world holding its breath. What is your one thing? Not a question shouted, but whispered, in the quiet between heartbeats. It does not always wear coins. Sometimes it wears a name, a face, a title etched into your ribs, a dream you clutch like a stone in your palm. You carry it, even when your arms tremble. It may not be silver, not land, not the house on the hill. It may be the need to be seen, to be known, to be right. The job that feeds your worth, the love you fear losing, the image you polish each morning before the glass. These are the chests we build, the locks we weld shut, the keys we swallow. We all have a chest we refuse to drop. Heavy, splintered at the edges, held tight against the chest, as if letting go would mean vanishing, as if identity were measured in grip. But look at the lake, the reflection, unbroken. The sky rests upon it, not pulled, not strained, just given. The storm has passed. You feel it in the air, cool, damp, clean. No thunder, no wind, only the faintest tremor of light as the sun lifts over the rim of the world. He does not ask you to suffer, not for the sake of pain, not to prove your strength. He asks you to open your hands, to feel the space between your fingers, to let the stones fall, not into emptiness, but into water, where they sink and disappear. He asks you to fly, not by earning wings, but by releasing what drags you down. The ruler walked away, his pockets full, his soul empty. He could not loosen his hold, and so he carried everything except peace. Then you are invited, now, to come with empty hands, not stripped, not punished, but free. No ledger, no list, no voice counting your failures. There is no audit we can pass on our own. The books were closed long ago, the debt erased in a moment we did not see. The impossible price has already been paid, not by you, not by your sweat, not by your silence, by another, in darkness, on wood, with breath that gave instead of took, rest, not as a reward, but as a gift, as the natural state of being loved, deeply, fully, without condition. You are not loved because you strive, because you achieve, because you endure. You are loved because you are, because your name is known, because your breath is held in hands that never tire. Let the drift of the water carry the weight away, not by force, not by will, but by surrender. The lake does not fight the sky. It reflects, it receives, it holds nothing back, and in that stillness it becomes everything. So breathe. Let the air fill you. Cool, quiet, complete. The sun rises, not for the perfect, not for the strong, but for you. Here, now. With nothing to prove, nothing to carry, nothing to earn. Just rest. Let the water hold what you cannot. Let the light warm your face. Let the silence speak what words never could. You are safe. You are seen, you are loved, and it is enough.